Black,
Present.
Commissioner Knizik, Commissioner Marecki,
Here.
Commissioner Baker McCormick,
Here.
Commissioner Scott, Commissioner Varga,
Present.
Vice Chair Pro Tem Baydoun,
Here.
Vice Chair Palomera,
Here.
Chair Bell.
Here.
You have a quorum present.
Thank you so much. Next item, please.
Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the
Next item, please, Madam Clerk.
invocation.
Okay, we'll have our invocation by Commissioner Anderson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Please join me in prayer. Father in heaven, we commit this meeting to you. Come and reveal your will in every aspect of our life and work. And as we discuss the affairs of this county, we ask for your will to be done. Show us your purposes. Enlighten us that we may know how you want us to accomplish our task. We desire your glory and blessing in all we do. Direct our thoughts, words, decisions, and actions toward the right path and keep us on the right track. Lord, we know we're living at a very difficult time with innocent lives being lost in Ukraine and here in our own nation, senseless killings, leaving grieving parents behind with shattered lives in Buffalo and in other places that are becoming more frequent by the day. Spread your love across this troubled world and comfort those families. Let your will be done today as we make decisions for this county. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Anderson. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Reading, correcting, and approval of the journal.
Vice Chair Pro Tem Baydoun.
Move for approval.
It's been moved and supported. Any corrections to the journal? Hearing none, are we able to vote now? No. Hearing none, all in favor of the journal as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Anyone wish to abstain?
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item.
Report from the chair.
Thank you. For our listening audience on Zoom and on the telephone, just a reminder that all of the items on our full board agenda, all the committee reports have been thoroughly vetted and discussed in the committee format, and then they come here to full board for final disposition. Number two, I'd like to call Andrew Kandrivas to the podium, please. Just want Andy to come up really quick and make a couple of announcements. Andy?
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to take a moment and thank you for affording me this. I wanted to thank you all for the relationship and all the hard work that we've undertaken together over the last few years as I've been the liaison for the executive's office to this commission. It's really been an honor, and it's been fun to stay in legislative circles because I always feel that's where my heart is after serving in the State House. I want to take this opportunity to let you all know, you will have it before you, but I have been appointed by Mr. Evans as the interim director for the Department of Public Services. So I am no longer your liaison. I will be working with you as much as ever, I'm sure, because the DPS issues are very near and dear to all 15 members in your districts, which I learned the hard way in the last couple of years, how important DPS is to all of you. I want to make sure, I just wanted to point out Mr. Eddie Fakuri, who is at the executive staff seat. Eddie has been appointed to take my position, my former position. And Eddie, if you want to just come up and say a word or two. Wanted to make sure the name and the face got put. Eddie's been here for quite a few years since I've been here at the county. So you may know him in other capacities, but I wanted to make sure that you knew Eddie and that he was available for all of you.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you, everyone. Madam Chair, appreciate it. My name is Eddie Fakori. As he said, I've been with this administration since the start in 2015. So Not new to the county, possibly new to this role, but I'm in a familiar environment. Many of you I know, we've worked together over the years. I'm excited about this new position and working with each of you and helping this county move forward together. So there'll be a more formal announcement sent out to everyone, but not to take more time now. But again, thank you. I appreciate the introduction, Andy. And as I said, with this administration, I'm excited about this new role and working with each of you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Eddie. Thank you, Andy. And we look forward to working with you. Congratulations, Andy, in your new role. We'll look forward to continuing to work with you with our DPS issues. Well, thank you so much, sir. This time, I would like to take us a couple of minutes to talk about an item that we had before us a few weeks ago, and that was the contract process with the CJC contracts that will be coming before us, Criminal Justice Center contracts. Had great conversations with Corp Counsel, our staff, and we've come up with a plan which we think will work, because the essence of this is to make sure that we're getting the contracts through still efficiently and thoroughly, but as quickly as possible. So what we're decided to do is that we will have, from the time that the contract goes through the administration to us, there'll be 5 days for us to vet, go through fiscal analysis, our legal analysis. We have one person that's dedicated to all of those contracts. That'll be Joe. So he'll be the one point of contact for the analysis of the contracts. Of course, Felicia will do the legal, and then Mark and his team for the fiscal piece. And then within 5 days, we've committed to having those contracts before this body for approval up or down. So that would mean that we will meet more regularly at a full board. It wouldn't be a full board, but we'll gather as a full board on a Tuesday or Thursday, depending on how the contracts come to us. On Tuesdays, it would be at 10 o'clock, provided there's no economic development meeting. And then on Thursday, same time, about 10 o'clock, we will meet as a full body to move those contracts along. So hopefully they'll stay on our normal schedule of every other Thursday, but please know that it's possible that we could be meeting once a week to address these contracts. Okay, any questions? Okay, Mr. Corp Counsel, do you want to add anything to that?
Nothing to add, James Heath, Wayne County Corporation Counsel, but just want to thank you and your staff for all the time you put in, as well as all the commissioners for the time you will put in. And we will uphold our end of the bargain with the deliverables that we promised, including listing of the contracts and the like. And so there'll be more to come, but thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you, sir. Okay. That's all that I have. Next item, please.
Of the agenda, unfinished business, there's one item listed, requesting commission approval of the reappointments of Commissioner Tim Killeen, Betty Mizaraka, Barbara Rogel Miller, Maria Lambert, and Hubert Massey to the Wayne County Art Institute Authority Board of Directors.
Thank you. I'm going to turn this over to our Gov Ops Chair, Commissioner Dopp.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I will move this item for approval with the exception of Mr. Hubert Massey, who has withdrawn.
There's support.
Support, Ken Lund.
It moved and supported. Excuse me, any discussion? Any discussion?
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Anderson?
just a quick question to our legal counsel. Just wanted to ask, does it seem as though all of the issues that might have been brought up have been resolved with these appointees having served prior to this reappointment? Speaking of the communication that we received that was stating that the annual reports, or annual audits, I should say.
Through the chair, the Wayne County Art Institute Authority is in the process. They've issued an RFP. They actually selected a vendor to perform audits. So that occurred on Monday. So they did select an auditor to perform audits, their annual audits as required by statute. With regards to, I don't know if there's anything else specifically you were looking for.
I think that was primarily it, but I do recall that the terms, are they limited on the number of terms that someone can serve?
No, as indicated in the communication that was issued by our commission clerk, no, there are no term limits for the board members. If you actually look at the statute and then you look at the articles of incorporation, they indicate that members are to serve a 2-year term. So the terms are 2 years. However, there is no limitation on the number of terms an individual may serve. So there is no limitation as previously indicated in that email communication.
You see nothing else in the appointment of these individuals that conflict with the Articles of Incorporation?
Not to my knowledge, no, there are no concerns with regard to the individuals that are before you at this moment.
Thank you, Ed. I thought it was important that the public that might be listening in gets an answer to that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Commissioner Baker McCormick?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to clarify, what is the process for consideration of candidates to the board? What's the process?
Currently, names are submitted to me, and then I choose those names based on what's submitted, and then bring them to this body for vote.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Is the board ready for vote, or do we have to do a roll call? Okay, the board is now ready, Madam Clerk.
Open.
Thank you. Please vote.
Motion carries.
Next item, please.
We're moving to offering up all petitions, ordinances, resolutions, and presentations. There is one item listed, an ordinance to amend Chapter 177 of the Wayne County Code of Ordinances, Women's Commission's Ordinance, to amend Section 177-5 to clarify the election of the chairperson and the vice chairperson, and to amend Section 177-8 to amend the date for the submission of the annual report to the Wayne County Commission.
Thank you. As we, this is the first year with our Women's Commission, so we're kind of tightening up with things. One is that the original ordinance had December as the deadline for their annual report, but they had just gotten into office in June. So we established that from June to June. So they'll have an annual report for us in June. And then second, with the election of the chairpersons and vice chairs, again, that was clarified that that election would be in June of every year as well. So those are the two things. And this is here for first reading and referral to government operations. Commissioner Kinlock.
Yes, Madam Chair. This is an issue that I think is important for all boards and commissions where individuals are appointed to, that when you're appointed to these positions, you need to attend the meetings. I'm not sure whether or not at this time is necessary for me to ask for an inclusion or an amendment to this ordinance to include that 3 consecutive absences by members shall be deemed a vacancy. And so I think that that is an important message and important context that should be included in boards and commissions, commission service. And I would like to recommend this as an additional amendment to this ordinance.
Okay, thank you. This is going to GovOps, and that can be discussed, and the council can get language together during GovOps.
Thank you.
Commissioner Clark Coleman.
I think you need to clarify it without, people can be absent because they're going through a health issue.
Mhm.
So it needs to be
Unexcused.
clarified without an excuse.
Correct.
An excused absence.
Thank you.
Okay, and again, Commissioner Dobb is here in this conversation. That Commissioner Dobb is on the Women's Commission, so they'll have a conversation about this during the GovOps committee. Commissioner Becky McCormick.
Just wanted to add that consideration of the appointing commissioner will there be any, I think that needs to be also discussed.
Clarify that, please.
If they're going to be removed because we as commissioners appoint, right? So if they're going to be removed, I think the appointing commissioner should also have some say as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I would ask that if people have additional things they'd like to see in that ordinance, to please take those over to Felicia so that she can add them too, and then we can have a thorough conversation during the GovOps committee. So any suggestions to strengthen and make it as efficient as possible, please let us know. But they're doing a great job. I will tell you that. They had a mental health forum a few weeks back and it was awesome. So they're doing a great job. Commissioner Anderson.
Just a quick note, and some of you may be aware of it. I think she is still on the Women's Commission, Ebony Bloomfield. I don't know, Melissa, if you, Ebony, do you know Ebony that's on the commission?
Ebony Hughes?
Ebony Bloomfield. She was someone that I nominated from Westland. And I just wanted to make a little announcement that she has a baby daughter now. And they live close to me, so I regularly get to see her on Facebook anyway. So, but anyway, she's a beautiful little girl. Just wanted to, that's her first child. Yeah.
Thank you, Commissioner. And I think she told us that while we were aware of that during her pregnancy. So thank you. Okay. So that we have a motion for first reading and referral to GovOps. Do we have a
Move
motion?
to approve.
Okay. Okay, moved and supported to refer this to government operations. Any further discussion? Hearing none, please vote.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Here are reports from committees. Report A is from the Committee on Public Services. There are 8 items listed on pages 2 through 4 of the agenda.
Commissioner Marecki.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move to receive and file items number 1 and approve items 2 through 8, with Commissioner Hattis being the maker of the motion on number 3.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any discussion on the public services report? Commissioner Basham.
Of course, I'm going to be a no vote on the comparable source contract for item number 2. And I'm asking the chair of the committee if I could be the maker of the motion number 6.
Yes, on number 6, and just to note on number 2, this is a modification of a contract that's already in place.
Further discussion on the public services report? Hearing none, please vote.
Motion carries, and I have Commissioner Basham as a no on item number 2 and maker of the motion on item number 6.
Thank you. Next item, please.
And Madam Chair, and
Yes.
Commissioner Hattis is the maker of the motion on number 3.
Okay, duly noted.
Thank you.
Next item.
Here on report B from the Committee on Ways and Means, there are 6 items listed on pages 5 and 6 of the agenda.
Commissioner Varga.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move approval of all 6 items from the Committee on Ways and Means.
Support.
Been moved and supported for the 6 items on the Ways and Means report. Any discussion on these items? Any discussion on Ways and Means? All right, hearing none, please vote.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Here on report C from the Committee on Audit, there is 1 item listed.
Commissioner Basham.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to make a motion to receive and file the financial assessment limited review report.
Support.
Moved and supported to receive and file the report under the Audit Committee. Any discussion on that report? Okay, please vote.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item.
Here on report D from the Committee on Public Safety, Judiciary, and Homeland Security, there are 10 items listed on pages 6 through 9 of the agenda.
Okay, Commissioner Clark Coleman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item number 1 is an item for, this is the second reading of the ordinances today.
Okay, so we're going to open it up for a public hearing. Okay. Who moved it? Commissioner Clark Coleman moved that we open up for a public hearing and it was supported. Okay, Commissioner Scott, excuse me, supported it. Now, public hearing is now open for the ordinance. Commissioner Basham, do you want to just refresh everyone what the ordinance is?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. It's was brought to my attention actually by the Sheriff's Department that some lewd acts were being done in our county parks. And so with the support of this commission, we're moving forward to deal with that issue. And it actually, the first offense is a $500 fine and impound the car. And hopefully that sends a message so that it doesn't happen again in the county parks where families, little kids, older adults, people with bicycles are visiting daily. So I appreciate the continued support from the entire commission. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that recap. There was a motion made to open up the public hearing and support. We need to vote on opening up the public hearing. So we could please vote to open up the public hearing. Let us know when the board is ready. This is to open up the public hearing on the ordinance. Varga. Public hearing is now open. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak to the ordinance? Name for the record.
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is Robert Pulowski and I live in Southgate and Wayne County. I'm glad to see the steps and measures taken to get the lewd and lascivious behavior out of our parks. I definitely support this bill and I look forward to seeing our parks grow and thrive. And I look forward to taking this in front of Oakland County Board for their parks as well to do the same thing that we're doing in Wayne County. So keep up the good work and look forward to the future of Wayne County. Thank you.
Thank you for coming out to speak to us. Is there anyone on the telephone or on Zoom who would like to speak? I see a hand, Mr. Arthur Edge.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you.
Morning.
My name is Arthur Edge. I am Vice President of Friends of Rouge Park and President of Far West Detroit Civic Association. These activities are also going on in Rouge Park, and Outer Drive is a Wayne County road. So can this be addressed also in Rouge Park?
It absolutely is, sir.
All right.
We'd have a thorough conversation on that last week with the sheriffs. So because Outer Drive is a county road, it will also apply to Outer Drive as well.
Okay, because the activities go on there for the families that come to visit Rouge Park, which is the largest park, inner city park in the country, and also my community with Far West Detroit Civic Association, which I'm president of. The quality of life affects them very much when people are trying to visit the park or just going through the park with their families. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. And I'm glad we see your face because this body approved your retirement resolution at our last meeting for 27 years with the city of Detroit. So it's nice for you all to see who you recognize for their service to Detroit. Thank you, Mr. Edge.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else on Zoom or on the telephone who would like to make a public comment on this item? Anyone else? Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
Support.
Been moved and support to close the public hearing. Let's vote.
Carrie.
Thank you so much. Now Commissioner Clark Coleman, you want to move the item?
Sure. I like to move item, I'd like to move for approval, items 1 through. Yeah, the whole agenda.
Okay. Moved and supported the Committee on Public Safety, Judiciary, and Homeland Security, items 1 through 10, including the ordinance, public nuisance. Any further discussion on any of the items on the agenda? Commissioner Baker McCormick, and then Commissioner Kleen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I wanted to clarify in the ordinance, we talked about signage for item number 1 that was in some parks, but I wanted to clarify if we had some type of notification or signage in all of the parks. Or will we have signage if we don't currently to talk to the issues?
Commissioner Basham.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't know of any park in this country where it says that you have to have a sign to tell people that you can't commit a lewd act in a park or you can't murder in a park. You can't do all sorts of things in the park. I personally don't think it's necessary. If you have to explain basic law to folks, I don't really think, and I don't want to be argumentative, but I don't think a sign actually helps this item. Thank you.
And I
So
will
what-
say that
To that point,
there are no standing signs
Okay.
in Hines Park now, and we are actually trying to get no standing signs in Rouge Park on Outer Drive as a deterrent for people to stop and commit activity.
right. So what I was alluding to is last discussion that we had, the first reading, we talked about some of the parks having certain signage to prevent certain behaviors. So that is the question that I'm asking. Are we going to have those signs in all of the parks or just a few of the parks? We don't want people to be harassed about certain things that they can then say, well, I didn't know this was against the law or rules or any of that. So again, I just wanted to clarify if we have signs in some of the parks or all of the parks or none of the parks.
That's a DPS question, but I will say some of the parks have signs. Most parks in the city of Detroit, I know for sure, have no standing or no standing after dark. There are some in Hines Park. I don't think this ordinance, and correct me, Commissioner, I don't think this ordinance specifically says that signage is mandatory, but I'm sure there'll be some signs erected if need be. But that's a DPS question. Does that answer you before?
It does, but it still doesn't clarify if we'll have signs or not.
So you want to
So
know if it's
just-
mandated that, I don't think this ordinance mandates signs, to answer your question more directly. This ordinance, am I correct? This ordinance does not mandate signs.
No, it doesn't.
Correct. Yes, it does not. Vice Chair Palomar, to that point.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And to that point, I would be adamantly opposed to start putting up signs of all of the crimes that are prohibited in parks. And especially on this issue, it invites a discussion with children. If they see, what does that mean? That I don't think needs to take place in parks. I would, it will be on the books. It will be a law. Common sense should dictate and it should be enforced. Now, I'll be supporting this, but I would not support the placement of signs. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Kleen?
Oh, to that point, Madam
Oh,
Chair.
I'm
I
sorry,
just
to that
wanted-
point, then Commissioner Kleen, go ahead. to that
Yes,
point.
and again, I'm not against or for, I'm just wanting to clarify so that we're all on the same page. And in some parks, you have signs, in some parks you don't. And so some people can say, well, it doesn't say that here. And certain people will feel harassed if we don't clarify that. But we clarify it in other cases. So again, I'm not for or against signs. I just want to be clear if we're going to have them, then I think it should be clear we're going to have signs.
So there are no signs that are going to say no lewd behavior. The most the sign will say, as it currently says, is no standing
Or after a
or
certain
closed
hour.
after dark. That's the
after
only
dark.
two signs that we have in our park. They either say closed after dark or they say no standing, but there will not be any signs that say no, this, and this, and this.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
So let me make sure that I understand. This is not just Rouge Park and
Hines Park.
Am I correct?
It's county parks.
All county parks?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make
County
sure that I understood it correctly, that it was Elizabeth Park or all the other parks in Wayne County?
This ordinance is for
All
every,
Wayne County parks?
yes.
That's what I want to make sure I understood.
I'm Commissioner Hayes, let me get to Commissioner Kalinga. He had his hand up a few minutes ago. Commissioner
Madam Chair,
Kalinga,
my
Hayes, then
discussion
Varga.
is on item number 2, so I'll be willing to
Oh,
wait until this discussion is complete if
Okay.
you so desire.
thank you, sir. Commissioner Hayes and then Commissioner Varga
Thank you,
on
Madam
this
Chair.
item.
I know in some municipalities park, they have a very nice small sign that address all law violators. And this park would be prosecuted. There are some of them just without mentioning what type of crime or any crime. And then there, another sign said the park goes after.
Right. And I guess we will keep the same protocols as we have currently. Our interim director, Candriva, is that you, Andy? I can't see that far away. And again, the signage is a DPS issue, but the ordinance makes clear that if you're doing anything illegal, that stricter punishments will happen. Commissioner Varga?
Thank you. It's a Wayne County ordinance, so would not all parks fall under this ordinance?
And,
All parks.
and council, and all parks in all municipalities in Wayne County?
Through the chair, yes, so this is applicable countywide. However, if there is a local ordinance in the community that's similar to this, then that ordinance would be applicable. But the sheriff's office indicated already that they have countywide enforcement. They've been specifically looking at Rouge Park. So we've already discussed that and ensured that they have the capability in coordination with those local communities to also enforce this in other places.
Okay, any other discussion on this item, item 1? Okay, hearing none, either Commissioner Killeen on item number 2?
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I do have a few questions on this item. And I would also like to hear from the department a little longer narrative of what this does. I am of the opinion that Wayne County does an outstanding job in community corrections. And so I see this is a grant from the state of Michigan. Is this an one-year grant? Do we get this grant every year?
I think, is Ebony here today? Any corrections?
You can come to the podium, sir. Oh.
She's on the line.
Oh, okay, and on the line as well.
Good morning through the chair, Ebony McCann, Adult Community Corrections Administrator. It's my understanding that Tom Coaches is in the chambers and is prepared to speak on this matter.
Hey.
Yes, okay. Thank you, sir. Go ahead.
Good morning. I guess you know who I am, Tom Coaches. Yes, this is a one-year grant from the state directly to the county with no match involved with it.
Does this mean to continue these services, we would need to receive this grant every year?
My knowledge, that is correct. That this state grant supports these services with the Michigan Department of Corrections.
Because I believe we do apply for some community correction grant each year.
Yes.
And so we're asking for lack of a better phrase, a different scope of services this time?
Actually, the scope of services is aligned with the state's goals and objectives at the same time. And so they have a goal and objective to decrease what they're calling the prison commitment rate, as well as increase the probation compliance, as well as a final goal of increased public safety through 2 or 3 different mechanisms.
Okay, so we're aligned with the state. Does the Community Corrections Advisory Board have input into this?
Yes, actually, this was presented by Ms. Jennifer Caruso to the community advisory boards and approved by them.
I also like that. There's a new term in here I'd never seen before, criminogenic needs. Is there a definition of that word?
That one I can't help you with. I apologize. I saw that in the presentation. I can tell you that cognitive behavioral therapy is involved to increase public safety, as well as some trauma therapy for individuals, particularly the female population, to include public safety. And then compliance with the tether program is attempted to be enhanced, as well as working with the pretrial population to lower their prison commitment rate.
Yeah, I like the all the bullet points of all of the things to be developed here. One of the questions that staff asked that I'm not quite clear on the answer, the question from staff was, is there no longer funding for male supportive services, which was supported by the Detroit Wayne Integrated Health Network?
Actually,
are there going to be continuing male supportive services?
Yes, those support services will be continued. Actually, that's probably why I'm here. I was asked to develop an enhanced program in our clinics to take those therapies on. As some of you might be aware, I've been working more closely with the Detroit Wayne Health Integrated Network, and we have a memorandum of understanding. So I think there will be continued growth of that program through this enhancement. And yes, those therapies are still planned.
Well, I just, when these things are 1-year grants and we're putting a lot of, and I understand your point that this is aligning with the state of Michigan goals. Administration's change in Lansing, goals of the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services change. So that gives me just a little concern that we don't get stuff up and running and then have to pull it back because of our relationship with the state, or they have different ideas for us in the future in terms of this community corrections grant.
Been brought to my attention that the last 2 years, the full grant wasn't spent. And so that's one of the reasons we're taking this on a little bit, because there was $150,000 left in both years approximately. And so the attempt here was to make sure we're making full use of the dollars to help Wayne County.
Well, as I mentioned at the beginning, I am in full support of the effort that the county has had in community corrections and helping people outside of incarceration, which turns out to be more effective for the individual and less expensive for government. So when you have outcomes like that, that's wonderful. So thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Clark-Holman.
Commissioner Clean, FYI, I'm the chair of the Community Correction, just in case you didn't know. But all those items come before the Community Corrections Board before they come to full board. Okay?
And I was just asking, because I know you chair community corrections.
I thought you did.
And, but when I saw the word, how it came through, I wanted to ask administration if you had been consulted with. So thank you.
Welcome.
Any further discussion on the public safety report? Commissioner Basham.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to be consistent and about retroactive and comparable source contracts. I voted no on items 3 through 9 to send a message. I still think we can improve on this process. I expect them to go forward, but I will be a no on items 3 through 9.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none, please vote.
Motion carries, and Commissioner Basham is a no on items 3 through 9.
Next item, please.
Here on Report E from the Committee on Government Operations, there are 2 items listed.
Commissioner Dobb.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to move for approval items 1 and 2.
Moved and supported for the government operations report. Any discussion on those 2 items? Discussion on those 2 items? Hearing none, please vote. Sorry.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you. Next item, please.
Here on Report F from the Special Committee on Criminal Justice Complex, we have 1 item listed on the addenda.
Commissioner Kinlock.
It's on the addenda. It's a receiving.
I see it. Hey, 1 second. I'm looking for the addenda. I do not have the addenda. Thank you. Okay, so, okay, I'm messing with you, Armin. Look at what I got. Yes, Madam Chair, I move the receive and file, item number 1.
Been moved and supported by Vice Chair Pro Tem Baidoon to receive and file item number 1 on the Special Committee on the Criminal Justice Complex. Everyone has that on their addenda. Any questions? Commissioner Basham.
Someone comment on the criminal justice item?
The receive and file, what's the report that we just read it, Commissioner Kinlock?
Okay, it was a report from Mr. Heath, basically forwarding us reports that all of the commissioners pretty much have received over this timeframe. So as you know, we receive regular CJC reports from the CJC team. And so it's basically the committee formally receiving those and filing those. And at this time, Madam Chair, if you would allow me, I would like to ask for Mr. Heath, who's present at the executive table, if he would come up, if you have any other additional information you would like to provide to the commissioners.
James Heath, Corporation Counsel, thank you, Chair of the subcommittee. The report that we submitted is the normal report that we give on construction updates and the like, and we discussed it in the committee. I don't have anything to add since our meeting yesterday, or was it yesterday?
Yesterday, yes.
But it is that, and if any other commissioners do not get that report, I'd be happy to share it and make sure that everyone does. But I think that all members do receive it.
Yes. One thing I will note, and Joe did bring it to my attention, that part of reviewing, I guess there was a report that came the night before, day before yesterday, that indicated that there would be a change in the dates as relates to turnover dates and whatnot, that it's just been extended by about, Joe, would we say like a couple of months, about 2 months?
No, that's correct. And so the turnover date that we look at right now, we held a meeting the day before our committee hearing where we got additional dates indicating that the JDF, the Juvenile Detention Facility, will be turned over the end of this year, so I believe November of this year. And then the ADF, the Adult Detention Facility, would be turned over in February of 23. And so, as you know, kind of since COVID ended, we have been in discussions with the developer and the general contractor, indicating how supply chain and other matters have impacted scheduling. And so that's the most up-to-date information that we have.
Thank you, Matt.
Hey there, James. Commissioner Killeen?
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. We do receive via email the reports from this committee.
Yes.
I don't believe we've had a report on the full board agenda before. I don't believe that's the case. So when I got the addenda last night and the attachment was large enough, it had to be broken into 3 separate emails. And I started going through it and I noticed there was a PowerPoint attached to that. And then several, I guess is how I'll describe it, pages of individual items that were rather small in writing and hard to go through.
Let me allow our commission counsel to address that.
Well,
The reason why you're seeing it on the agenda, you had not seen it before.
I hadn't asked that
Is
question.
that your question?
No.
Well, I think she should say it anyway. Go ahead, Commission Counsel. Oh, you don't have a mic?
I'm gonna defer to Clerk Lane.
Okay.
Commissioner, you are receiving these items and seeing them on the agenda now because we realized that they were not being formally accepted by the commission. So doing it this way allows us to keep a record because we are the record keepers. So doing it this way allows it to be on the record.
Thank you. And I suspected something like that, but opening up the first addenda and here's a PowerPoint. And since this committee is on this agenda for the first time, I was kind of expecting that we'd walk through a PowerPoint here because we haven't had a formal presentation like this. Is the addenda we got, is that the formal presentation that goes to this special committee? Did this special committee see that entire presentation?
Yes, we go thoroughly through these items these reports. We have extensive conversations with them, with the team, CJC team, and we even go beyond what is presented to us. As you recall that a month or so ago, I'm just saying, specifically since I've been chair and even before I became chair, the committee has, they had the administration has been very open with all of the activities taking place there. And we also, as a commission, we did go on a tour of the facility when it was sort of a box. And we're also will be planning one in the near future now that is coming and to the point of being finished. Thank you.
Thank you.
If I may, Madam
Sure.
Chair. We're discussing here that the finish line for this is going to be pushed back a couple of months now, considering all of the things need to be done. And since there hasn't been a presentation to the full commission, that is what I was hoping for today. So all of us, because now you have announced kind of a schedule for, I believe the number was a couple of 100 contracts that need to be doing. And so I was hoping that we would have a more overall picture presented here for all of the commissioners to provide the context for this dash to the finish line that just got a little bit longer. So I do feel a little better that the email that we got last night, which I believe was 80 some pages, was presented to our subcommittee and they have gone through it all. But I think it would be very helpful if we as a full board could go through that entire, this is a big project. So I'll leave it at that for my comments today. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And just so that you know, we are certainly having a meeting on the entire CJC at the appropriate time. So that will happen. It's just hadn't been scheduled yet. So that is in the works.
And forgive my opinion on this, Madam Chair, but I thought today would be the appropriate time.
Oh, it'll be at a COW, not a full board meeting, but at a COW.
In the future.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I want it here soon.
Thank you. Commissioner Basham?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I hate to agree on record with Commissioner Clean, but I sort of do. We get a construction update every month, but it's generally just a few bullet points with some pictures. And so I feel that as a commissioner, I have a responsibility to, know what's going on to a degree that I feel comfortable with it, because I had just got elected when it was right before the previous jail project failed. I did make I think it was like my first month or so, I got a nice little shovel plaque for the other jail facility that I'd be glad to give somebody if they wanted it. But that's a pretty good indication. I would like not to get another one again if it doesn't come through. And I want to make sure I do my job as a commissioner. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Marecki, then Varga.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would just like to thank Commissioner Kinlock and Commissioner Anderson for having these meetings every 2 weeks
Basically, yeah.
or a month. And we've had updates on every single, these meetings have been very consistent and the team has been there every single time. And a lot of times this is on Zoom. It would have been very easy to tune in. And I appreciate the dedication they've done because we have been updated constantly on this. So thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Varga?
Thank you. I think I just heard Commissioner Kinlock, Chair of the committee, inviting everybody to the next meeting. Thank you.
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Thank you, Varga. And as everyone knows, all of the meetings are open for all the commissioners to attend. And we do get the report from Tim Johnson as well as our team. But we did have a meeting on CJC. We were probably still on Zoom. So early in this year, we had a cow on it. So it's absolutely necessary for us to continue to have meetings. Don't want to think that we have not, but we have had cows on this continuing through the project, and we will continue to do so. So thank you for those comments. Real quick, Varga, then Anderson.
I'd like to ask for an excuse for me for the remainder of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, will do. Thank you. Commissioner Anderson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to confirm, when I was chair, we did have a tour last year, and we sent out notice to everyone's office about the tour. And I think we had a pretty good group of members. And we've also, as was mentioned, the agenda and has always been on upcoming meetings, have always been on our monthly agenda for the commission meetings, or twice monthly. And this is not the first time that this has been on there, but it's probably maybe some first time it's been noticed. But it has been early on. It was not determined that we had to bring that to the full commission to read into the record. And now we've corrected that, and that is something that we'll probably see monthly. And so that's all I have, just to make everyone aware of the fact that it has been public information, and the meetings have, as you mentioned, have been available for anyone to attend, either by Zoom when we were only doing Zoom, or in person. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Vice Chair Pro Tem Baydun.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I too would like to echo Commissioner Marecki's comments. Commissioner Kinlock and Commissioner Anderson, thank you for the information that you've been conveying every meeting. It's been very informative. Corporation Council, I'm a member of that committee. But for the rest of the commissioners, I invite you to come in the next meeting, because we will have very good, delicious free lunch.
Delicious free lunch. We'll all be there. Thank you.
No barbecue, but it will be
No
a free lunch.
barbecue. Thank you. And I'll close this out on saying, did we vote on this? Before I say anything, did we vote, Madam Clerk? No, okay. When I became chair, it was very important that we had transparency as we build this new criminal justice complex, which is why I established this task force to make sure that this body stayed on top of it every step of the way. So I want to thank Commissioner Anderson for his initial leadership, and now Commissioner Kinlock the jail is in his district, for your leadership on this. And I think we've been very transparent and stayed on top of making sure that all the information has been thoroughly discussed, vetted, and we are not going to have another failed jail situation. So I just want to thank everyone who's been on top of it, and we will have a committee of the whole in the very near future to get another update as we have over the last 2.5, 3 years. So with that, please vote.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Real quick, this next piece is easy. Upcoming meetings, please note the upcoming meetings. If you have any changes, please let the clerk know. But please note the upcoming meetings for next week. Madam Clerk, next item.
Here on new business, there are no items listed.
Okay, so I do have one. Thank you. That's not listed. I wanted to, and again, as we speak about transparency, the Corp Council has some information that he wanted to share with all of us as we move through the criminal justice complex. I'm sorry, it's not criminal justice complex. As we move through everything going on in Wayne County, as we know, there were some issues with DPS a couple of weeks ago, and James has an update that he'd like to share with us in regards to that.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for the opportunity to mess up your perfect hour meeting. I promise I won't take much time. And thank you for your indulgence as I was not on the agenda. I come before you really as just an FYI to inform you of a legal services outside counsel contract that we have initiated under the delegated authority that this commission gives to the administration. And there will be an amendment in the weeks to come before this commission on that contract. And it revolves around the investigation that you all are aware of and we've been discussing for a few weeks. Just by way of background, as you know, several weeks ago, the Department of Justice charged 2 Wayne County employees from the Roads Division with embezzling over $1.7 million in funds. Kevin Gunn managed the bridge unit of the Roads Division, and John Gibson was a foreman with the bridge unit. They were charged with conspiring to commit and actually committing federal program theft, wire fraud, and money laundering. As part of the scheme to defraud between January 2019 and August 21, Gunn solicited approved Wayne County vendors to purchase generators and other power equipment from local retailers on behalf of Wayne County. The vendors would then submit invoices for these items to the county. And in order to conceal the scheme, the perpetrators would instruct the vendors to falsify the invoices they submitted to the Roads Division and list the items that the vendors were approved to provide as opposed to the ones that were actually purchased. And then those items would be sold through various outlets, and the defendants pocketed the money. And so that's the general overview of the scheme. The investigation, which led to uncovering this, began in the County Executive Administration, as well as the Wayne County Sheriff's Department, who then solicited the assistance of the FBI to investigate the criminal actions. At the beginning of the investigation, the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office secured a search warrant, which helped to break open the case and led to the uncovering of the scheme. Investigators with the Prosecutor's Office, as well as the FBI, took over the investigation along with other county and state law enforcement folks. In terms of actions we've taken so far, the administration has terminated the 2 individuals charged. A third has been suspended without pay. The administration has also pulled any pending contracts involving vendors in this process. And at an appropriate time, we will initiate debarment proceedings for any other existing contracts pertaining to this. No new agreements involving any of the vendors will be brought before this commission. I know that was a question that Commissioner Marecki and others have had, and so I just wanted to make that clear as well. Specifically, why I'm here today is to talk to you about another step we're taking with hiring outside counsel. Immediately following the charges, we engaged the law firm of Dickinson Wright to help us with taking a look at all of the issues involved in this matter. Dickinson will help with a comprehensive outside review of the matter, including both individuals as well as all vendors who may be involved. The general scope of those services, as you will see when the amended contract comes to you, are as follows. Provide a thorough review of the actions of individuals involved in order to prepare a conclusive internal report of what occurred and a precise timeline of the events. Conduct a comprehensive review of department policies, procedures, protocols to determine where breakdowns occurred and to help identify remedies across all of our departments. And determine the liability of any and of all culpable parties to the fullest extent of the law, and to bring civil lawsuits against those vendors and individuals to recover any and all potential county damages. At the conclusion of the principal investigation, the firm will prepare a detailed report articulating its findings and recommendations. That investigation will lay the groundwork for the civil litigation that I've discussed. That litigation will likely include counts of statutory conversion, embezzlement, fraud, civil conspiracy, and breach of contract. Why Dickinson Wright? As you all know, they are one of the largest and leading law firms in the country, or rather in the state of Michigan, with extensive resources, not only to help us look at the policies I've discussed, but also to help perform the necessary forensic analysis that would be required to uncover everything that has occurred. And certainly they are well suited to assist us with the civil litigation that I am sure will come from all of this. And so we wanted to cover all of our bases as much as possible from the beginning. And we think that Dickinson is an excellent partner. The relationship manager assigned to the case is Aaron Burrell. He's a partner with Dickinson. He has taken the place of someone you all know, Tony Jenkins, formerly with the law firm. And I am very, very confident in their team as we go forward. All of this that I'm describing will be done on a parallel track with the continuing criminal prosecution and investigation. We will soon be meeting with the U.S. Attorney's Office, the FBI, Wayne County Prosecutor, and other involved entities to make sure that we have bright lines in terms of the actions that we will be taking so that we don't cross the all-important criminal investigation, which is still taking place and is ongoing. What I can tell you is that the county executive and certainly our department will be as aggressive as we possibly can in this matter. And we want to move in parallel, but right along with them, but not overstepping. And so I wanted to give you an update. I think, Commissioner Basham, you've talked to me in the past about retro contracts and making sure that things come to the committee as quickly as possible. Even though we haven't started expending funds on this contract, we wanted to make sure that as soon as we know that it will expand, that we will bring that to you, and you can expect that in the next several months or several weeks rather, and that will go through the normal committee process that the commission has established. So I just wanted to give you that update about the legal services contract, and I can answer any questions kind of within those lines relative to it.
Thank you, James. Yeah, I thought it was very important that we had an update, that James did as well, before this body as we go forward, because this is a very touchy but very important subject matter. With Dickinson Wright, you mentioned about internal policies. That's going to be very important that this body, that we have a special meeting to talk about, after they do their investigation, what went wrong, how did it not, get notified after all those months, all of those internal processes to make sure that it doesn't happen again. So I look forward to getting that report so that we can take a deep dive into that, because this is something that shouldn't have happened, and we want to make sure it doesn't ever happen again. Commissioner Basham and Commissioner Anderson.
Yeah, I appreciate your remarks. I agree with them. And I was just thinking, as you're making your comments, that we will wind up voting, this commission will vote on Dixon Wright, I guess it'd be payments and contract, but also I think we vote on contracts as a commission, and I'd like to know who the vendors are. And I think that should be public knowledge. So can you give us the vendors and allow us as commission members to have that information?
So I'll answer it this way. We have had conversations with the FBI through procurement, and the actions we have taken so far have been at their request in terms of not going any further in releasing additional information. And so at this point, until I have my next meeting with them, Commissioner, and I certainly understand the thrust of your question, but I'd respectfully like, before I mention anything else about all of the vendors who may be involved, that I have the clearance of the FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office.
And with all due respect, the FBI don't vote on contracts, we do. And I've worked with the FBI and talked to the FBI, but they're people, they got a job to do, but we do also. And we should respect the FBI, but they should also respect us. So I would be glad to give firsthand conversation with the FBI if we can't get a list of the vendors that we voted on contracts to that quite frankly didn't do the job. So at least the first round of vendors, we should be able to get the list of vendors. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Commissioner Anderson, then Vice Chair Pro Tem Badun.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Heath, I appreciate the explanation and the update on what's being done. When will the commission receive that report?
So I think I'll be able to give you a fuller answer when we come back with the amended contract, because at that point, Commissioner Anderson, we will have met with the FBI, met with the U.S. Attorney's Office, as well as the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office, and we will have the parameters of exactly how fast and how far we can move so as not to circumvent their criminal investigation. And so I will be able to give you that update when we come back before you with the full amended contract for Dickinson Wright. And at that point, we'll have counsel here with us as well, and we'll be able to discuss that more fully. And
do you see any issue with us receiving a copy of that report? Because I think that might answer Commissioner Basham's.
No, not issue with the report. I'm just issue with the timing of it. Will be
Okay.
determined by, how far we're able to push. And so in terms of the information that ends up getting released, that's not a problem. As to the timing, which I thought was the thrust of your question, I'll be able to give you more information as we move forward.
I think you did include one of the things that was one of my largest concerns is where was the breakdown in the approval process on those invoices that were paid. There obviously there's a hole in the process somewhere that made that possible. And I appreciate the seriousness that you're taking, with this, as you do everything. You're a fine example of the best we have, I believe. So I believe you'll do.
My mother is smiling from heaven.
Yeah, you are. I believe you'll do what's necessary to get us on solid ground again and make sure that but as one commissioner, and I believe others, want to see what the resolution is to that process. And those that did wrong are charged, that haven't been charged already. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Chair Pro Tem Badun.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Heath, thank you for the update, and I applaud the aggressive approach that the administration is taking. I agree with my colleague, Commissioner Basham. I think we need this information, but also at the same time, I don't think we will interfere with the timing. I'm not sure if there's a possibility where we can have a closed session just with the commissioners to update us privately. And you touched on the vendors. Do we know if these vendors did any other contracts with other parts of Wayne County, other departments, or this is only exclusive to the DPS department?
Before I state that, I'd rely on the comments that I've made before. I'll let the first part of our investigation reveal all that information, Commissioner. But I do, as I said, agree with the sentiment. As soon as we're able to lay out all of the individual players, individuals, companies, and the like, we will do that in partnership with this commission. And so that's what I'll say as of today.
But again, to assure the residents of Wayne County, as of now, we are not doing any more business with these vendors, correct? Right now?
Yeah, we are.
Thing is on hold.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Thank you.
to that
Commissioner
point-
Clark,
Oh,
Yes.
Coleman, and then to you, Commissioner.
okay.
Been
I
waiting
just wanted
patiently.
to that point, do we know how many vendors that we're looking at here?
And so I can't give you a definitive number today that I can announce today, Commissioner. We are, the investigation is ongoing. There may very well be other entities that are uncovered. And so I don't have a number that I can give you as of today.
Okay, Commissioner Clark Coleman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Mr. Heath, for Esquire, for the report. And I understand your hesitancy in revealing information that might affect the case, the outcome of the case, since it's still being investigated. Because, even items that are given directly to only commissioners ends up sometime being in the newspaper. So I can certainly understand you having hesitancy in providing sensitive information of that nature. I'm going to ask you a question, and you don't, if it's too sensitive, don't just, are the vendors culpable? If that's too sensitive, you don't have to answer.
That calls for a conclusion that the purpose of this contract will spell out. And that is exactly part of the scope to determine everyone who has any level of culpability, vendors, individuals, and to determine exactly how far we can go after them in recovering every single penny that was taken. And so I will tell you this, we would not be taking this matter as seriously and engaging outside counsel to investigate with us, to aggressively go after everyone we can outside of the criminal track. Did we not think it would be fruitful at all? And so, if that is part of an answer to your question,
It is.
That's the God's honest truth.
It is. I just want to know if they were culpable.
Absolutely. I mean, this,
Thank you.
could not happen without wrongful actors
They knew what they were
all
doing.
the way around. And we will aggressively go after them to the fullest extent of both criminal and civil laws.
Commissioner Kinlock.
Mr. Heath, I absolutely want to just say it was an excellent recommendation, bringing Dickerson Wright to lead this investigative effort. I would absolutely hope that as part of their investigation, but more so they're part of the recommendations that will come from them based upon what operations they examine, is that they take a key look at both the processing of invoice, but also how we check in inventory. We're talking about specific items that were purchased that are part of this entire conspiracy. Not only the processing of receiving them, but also when our equipment and our inventory is actually checked out. It's just amazing that this has fallen through so many different layers of weaknesses within our system. And so I absolutely hope that it's a key look at how we both process invoices and the authorization of payment, especially when you're talking about the purchasing or receiving of actual physical equipment and products. And also, what is our mechanism of tracking and inventory protocols? Yep, thank you.
So, I mean,
That will be revealed during the Dickerson Wright, correct?
Oh, no, that's
Counsel?
what I'm saying. I'm just
Yes.
mentioning that
Yes,
that's
absolutely.
a heightened sensitivity
Yeah.
for me.
And
Yeah.
that, the tightening of that process is already underway. But you're right. I mean, you know, our review and our actions will be entirely comprehensive to make sure that something like this never happens again, number one, but that everyone involved, every entity who played a role in this will be brought to justice criminally and civilly.
And
No
we will
doubt about
certainly
that.
be notified and we will get a report. Like I said, we will have a special cow just to address this once that information is ready for us. Because absolutely, we want to all be abreast of everything that's in that report, everything. Vice Chair Pro Tem Baidoon.
Thank you. Mr. Heath, I want to ask you a question. I don't know if you can elaborate on this. Since we're looking at these two individuals, can you talk about whether these two individuals were cheating our county by, with their overtime periods? Is there anything like this that you can talk about, or it's still under the investigation?
There is an aspect of overtime abuse, fraud that that is also a part of our investigation, and that is correct.
Okay.
Commissioner Baidoon, and that is a part of the scope of what we will be reviewing and taking action on. That is not part of the current charges pending against these individuals, but it is something that we are aware of and we've already started looking into.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Heath. Thank you for that information. And we'll have more discussion when the contract comes before us. And then, of course, when the findings are resolved from the contract. So thank you for
Thank you,
the
Madam
time.
Chair.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, thank you, commissioners, for indulging us on that. That was very important that you kept in the loop and be as transparent as possible. Next item, Madam Clerk.
We're moving to testimonial resolutions and certificates of appreciation. There are 5 items listed on pages 10 and 11 of the agenda and 2 on the addenda.
Okay, is there a motion?
Move to approve. Or
Moved and supported. Couple of things I will be giving Judge Stevens the Eleanor Roosevelt Award on Saturday at the Democratic Women's Luncheon. She's very deserving her years as a judge for this county, so very excited about that. And then Dr. Curtis Ivory named CEO of the Year by the American Association of Community Colleges. So of all the community colleges all across the country, our chancellor is the best. So we want to give him an applause. We did give him a resolution with all commissioners' names on it. So that's a huge honor to know that we have the best chancellor in the country. I don't know if anyone wants to speak on any of the items, but there was a motion to approve and support it. Any further discussion on the testimony resolutions?
I just want to say there was an
Ken
extreme.
Lock?
Yeah, thank you. Sorry. Just want to say it was an extreme honor and pleasure to have presented certificates of accomplishment and recognizing the successful graduation of the 36 or 38 graduates of the 36th District Specialty Court. That graduation is taking place during our meeting, unfortunately, at the Horatio Williams Foundation facility. So it was my pleasure to submit and present these recipients with this recognition. Thank you.
Thank you. Please vote.
Carries.
Thank you so much. Next item.
Here are memoriams. There are 3 names listed on the agenda and 2 on the addenda.
Hey, Commissioner Scott.
Wesley Henry Sr. Took over the Well, he's the only one that still has a mortuary in Highland Park, and we used to have several. And W. Morris, I think some people will remember him. But he was able to take over that. And his two sons, so it will go on through his sons, so.
Yes. Thank you, Commissioner. So sorry for your loss. Vice Chair Palomero.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to add the name of Nick Manns Sr. Mr. Manns was 85 years old. He was the third generation owner of Manns Lumber Company with operations in Canton, Trenton, and Rochester. A true gentleman in every sense of the word. He's also happens to be my neighbor, and his funeral is taking place right now. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much. And let me also lift up the names of those who were killed in Buffalo, the senseless hate crime. Hate has no place in our country, but unfortunately, it continues to rear its ugly head. But we want to keep those families lifted up during this most difficult time. If everyone could please stand. Thank you. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Public comments.
Is there anyone in chambers for public comments? Come to the podium, please. 2 minutes.
Mission and in writing, I didn't, time constraints didn't permit me to put it in writing, but I am here concerning
Your
Wayne.
name, please.
My name is Star Ellen Carter. I'm a resident of Wayne, Detroit, Michigan. I'm here about the mental health system here in Wayne County. As I speak to you, just imagine your daughter going through this problem. My daughter was 16 years old, walking to the store. She was kidnapped, taken to a human trafficking house where she was repeatedly raped and sodomized. They performed their sick fantasies of the South Side, human angel, and all of that. Needless to say, my daughter suffered a mental breakdown, and it's still prevalent because of the PTSD. The thing is, I find out that she got with Central City. Now, a lot of these psychotropic medications that they are administering, Seroquel is a derivative of a heroin. You're taking patients, mental patients that really sincerely need help and making drug addicts just prescribing medication. Well, I had my daughter. I weaned her off myself. It's a long process. Well, currently my daughter's tried to kill herself 3 times in the last 2 weeks, not getting any assistance because I used a private therapist. I got tired of them administering medication. I took her to Alabama, and it's back in 2018. She stayed inpatient in 3 different institutions. She was never given a schizophrenic diagnosis. She wasn't schizophrenic. Now they put her on 1,500 milligrams of Seroquel, 50 milligrams of Haldol, 200 milligrams of Lamictal, which is the seizure medication, and 2 milligrams of Prozac. Then they want to administer a test and say she's autistic. She's developmentally disabled. Well, I birthed my daughter. Her APGAR scores was fine. She's a rape victim. And now when I seek private psychiatrists, they're threatened by Central City. Dr. Thelen, she can't any longer see my daughter. She referred her to Higuera, but Central City, everything is Central City, they call them. Okay, 2 years ago, I found Natalie Poole, wonderful therapist. It's not a group or a team, it's the psychiatrist and the therapist, one person to keep down confusion and dealing with a lot of different personalities. And I'm bringing this to the commission because I've gone round and around and around. And when my daughter tried to commit suicide a couple of years ago, she was on life support. So I went to Wayne County Probate Court to apply for guardianship because I didn't want them to pull the plug on my daughter. You know, you love your child, you keep hope alive. Well, Central City appeared at the guardianship hearing. To my surprise, Mr. Virgil Williams, Jadonna Young, Lauren Bond. They had someone from 707 Milwaukee come in. She's tall, bald-headed, African-American woman, testify as if she knew my family. And then the therapist said that I admitted to taking medication, my daughter's medication. So she was given a guardian. Now, this guardian is someone my daughter's never seen. I've never seen, even on Zoom with COVID going on. My daughter needs help. And then they're saying, well, you need a guardian. Well, I'll deal with the judge on that. But Wayne County, they're just prescribing medications. If you go to Teen Wellness, they're in line. There's no way a doctor is going to take time to really care. If you're turning these people into drug addicts, they never have an opportunity to grow, to learn. And the commission needs to know what's going on in Wayne County. Now, you've got agencies lying. You're not in the best interest of anyone if you have to sit up there and tell lies. Now you're trying to put diagnosis that now she's suddenly autistic. She can't even go back to Higuera, an organization that has her records. And who's getting paid for all of these lies? Okay.
Ma'am, I'm
Okay,
so sorry for.
I'll be back,
No.
but
I just want to say we're so sorry for what's happened to your daughter. And we do have a member of the commission who's on the DWIN board, Mr. Jonathan Kinlock. So if you could maybe speak to him after the meeting or touch base with him so that we can, take your concerns seriously and find out how we can address them. So I want to thank you for taking time to come here. I'm so sorry for what's
Okay.
happened to your
Yeah,
daughter.
they place people disabled in drug houses, all sorts of stuff.
Thank you for your time, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning again. Robert Pulowski from Southgate, Wayne County. I'm a transit and political activist all across the state of Michigan, and I'm also partnering with a Congress candidate, Michael Griffey, for Michigan's 13th district, running in the August primary. Today, I'm on behalf of his campaign here today, speaking. If there's anything we can reach out to the commission, if we anything that we can do to help the commission improve our community down in the Ecorse, River Rouge, Southgate, Wyandotte, Lincoln Park area, we are more than welcome to work with you. I'm also a promoter for his campaign. Excuse me. I'm also a campaign manager for his campaign, and we're also looking to get on buses and reach out to passengers as well to see what we're doing to improve transit and also communities around the area and also parks as well. If there's anything we can do within our power to help out the commission, I'm more than welcome to work with you on that. Also, I'd like to speak on Woodhaven a little bit. Everyone knows the Weston Allen corridor. It's a complete mess on the weekends. I'd like to shine some light on the Weston Allen corridor for how much traffic and congestion there are. With just a traffic light there needs to be more done, either a roundabout or something when it comes to a cop on the weekends. There are so many accidents. There are so many pedestrians trying to cross and they almost get hit. I'd like to see this community thrive, and I don't want to see any more accidents and people getting killed because of a complete congested area and people distracted on their cell phones and so on. So please look at this issue and let's take certain measures to make sure Woodhaven thrives to where we do not have car crashes and accidents like we've had in the past. Thank you for the time and opportunity to speak.
Thank you. Is there anyone on Zoom or on the telephone who would like to give public comments at this time? Gabriel Rees?
Yes, hi, good morning, Honorable Board. My name is Gabriel Rees. I'm voicing my concerns about the continued overreach of Wayne County into the freedom and personal privacy of citizens under this board's leadership. The continued implementation and support of vaccine mandates and requiring proof of vaccination in our communities and at our state universities, including Wayne State University, is deeply troubling to me. Not only is it out of bounds for the government to be intruding in this way, it is also ineffective at preventing this endemic virus from spreading, and seems an act of political theater when it is considered that the typical undergraduate student is in one of the lowest risk cohorts in the population. Please stop the continued forwarding of these initiatives and the wasteful spending it has and will continue to incur for our community as citizens are burdened with more and more government intervention in their daily lives. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else on Zoom or on the telephone for public comments? I don't see any hands. I don't hear anyone. Okay. All right, thank you so much. Next item, Madam Clerk.
I have 2 emails. The first email is from Anthony Plessia. Dear Commissioners, would it be possible to pass a resolution declaring a county memorial calling for the state legislature to pass a bill requiring the electrical grid to be protected? Second email is from Jeffrey Pokerwinski. Dear Board of Commissioners, what are your plans to protect the people of Wayne County against medical discrimination in the form of vaccine mandates and vaccine passports? The inaction of this commission in response to numerous constituents voicing their concerns regarding the protection of our liberty of individual medical autonomy free of discrimination is very disturbing. It's frustrating to see this board repeatedly turn a deaf ear to the very people you swore an oath to serve. Are you aware that there are parents who are being blocked from seeing their Wayne State University students' performances because they will not disclose their vaccination status? These parents are not even given the option to provide a negative test result to participate. This is a blatant medical discrimination and must not be allowed to continue. Your refusal to respond to and support the citizens of Wayne County who are experiencing this type of discrimination on a regular basis is being noticed and talked about on a regular basis. It's not too late to do the right thing and make a resolution against medical discrimination for the people of Wayne County. Will you stand up for our liberties or continue with your current strategy of ignoring your constituents?
Those are the only 2?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Next item, please.
Reconsiderations.
There are none.
Remarks by members.
On May 24th, Commissioner Basham will be celebrating a birthday. So let's just say happy birthday in advance to Commissioner Basham. Happy birthday, Commissioner.
Happy birthday, Mufawwad Basham.
Thank you. Yes?
In preparation for my birthday, I guess, 3 days ago, I took advantage of my liberties and got my second booster shot. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Congratulations, sir. Commissioner Scott. Martha G. Scott. Oh, okay. Duly noted. We will fix that. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner. Any other remarks by members? Commissioner Kinlock.
I'll make this quick. Many of you have seen in the news regarding the Detroit Medical Center and the struggles, issues, and the lack of investment that has been occurring through the many transition of owners that has occurred there. DMC is an important institution, health care institution in our community, and we cannot just sit idly by and watch what is occurring over there as it relates to the decay and the lack of investment in the physical plant throughout throughout their system. I will absolutely be bringing a resolution calling on the commission, calling on the various agencies to take a key look at, further look at its operations, even as Laura has cited certain violations based upon their review. But we have to, as the legislative body for the county, take notice when we see institutions that deliver direct care and services to our residents. We have to pay attention and take note when there are certain substantial and material just falling apart as relates to how those systems are working on behalf of our citizens. So I will be bringing forth a resolution, and at some point would probably talk with you and seeing if we can invite the new or the current owners to actually come before the commission and explain some of the remedies and some of the changes that they will make in order to address these concerns and as it relates to the public's health. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Look forward to that. Any additional, Commissioner Dobb?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to let everyone know, it was Tuesday evening, in my community, I held a community baby shower, which was the idea of a local high school student that I'm working with. And it was to raise awareness about the issue of racial disparities in infant and maternal mortality rates. We had guest speakers, Chair Bell and Stephanie Jackson from the Wayne County Health Department come out, as well as Sister Friends Detroit, which is a really great volunteer program where women volunteer to be sort of a mentor with pregnant women to help them out during their pregnancy and through the first year of their baby's life. And so we had a great discussion about the issues of Black women basically having a 2 to 3 higher chance of dying during pregnancy and childbirth than white women. And so I had a lot of people who attended come up to me and say that they really had no idea about this issue and that it really goes so deep. So we're hoping to, continue this conversation and the work in the community. And it was just a great event. So thank you, Chair Bell, for coming out for that.
Thank you. I had to pack a lunch to go all the way out to the far ends of Canton, but it was a great event. So thank you for doing that for the community. We appreciate that. Any additional remarks by members? Okay. Hearing none, is there a motion to adjourn?